Hey everybody, welcome back to my show. Today I wanted to kind of look at a bit of a indie game here called Trials of Fire. It's in early access, although looking at the roadmap, I think it looks like Q1 this year, 2020. They're hoping to go to the full release. I've been putting this in, I put in 4 or 5 hours into this now. It feels like a very complete game. What is it? It is a tactical, party-based card battler with equipment, gaining levels, roguelike elements such as randomized maps and encounters. It's a little bit like Gloomhaven if you've ever played that board game or looked into that board game, or Hexplorit, coupled with Slay the Spire. So I wanted to show it off because I'm really enjoying it, and even though it's in early access, it's about $15-16 on Steam, and it's super worthwhile, even just in its early state right now. So let me just play a little bit, and I'll just talk while I'm playing, and I will play poorly because I'm not great at the game to begin with, and I'll be talking. So full disclosure at the top of the video, you won't learn how to play well, but you'll learn if it's a game you think would be something you'd be into. So let's choose adventure, and here you can kind of get a sense already that this book is a pretty big part of the visual design. This book here is the whole game. Actually, you're going to see this is where the gameplay comes in. It's hard to explain, but just keep an eye on that because visually it's one of my favorite elements of the game. So already they've given us several story modes with different acts, if you will, phases to the adventure. A short one, a very long one, and then a medium one. That's the first one you start with. There could be more here. I've unlocked these two from playing. There could be more that are already implemented, and I just haven't unlocked yet. There's also a custom quest, which I think is just your run-of-the-mill run. Just go. There's 3 stages, and you just sort of do what you want. There's also a daily challenge, and a combat run, which is just fighting until you lose. And we're going to do a water gem, because I haven't beaten it yet. I've gotten to the boss several times, twice. And I'm just sort of experimenting. And also I had a hard time when I first got to this guy beating him. He's very powerful. I have beaten other bosses randomly that showed up in the world, and they're very tough, but I beat them. So I don't know what this guy's deal is, but he's my white whale. So let's look at the party. I've unlocked a couple characters. You unlock Warlord pretty quickly, and then Alchemist I just unlocked and haven't played with yet. And then there's another couple of classes with one more coming yet to play with. And each class has its own basic deck of actions, moving, defending, and then doing a couple of class-themed actions. And then they each start with a weapon. The Shaman has a flame rod here. The Hunter has a bow. And I'll explain what these cards mean and how you play when we get to the point where it matters. And then the Alchemist looks like he has a sling. I'm going to keep playing with my characters I've been playing with, which is the Warlord and the Warrior, because they're both melee specialists, and I like having 2 big frontline guys, because when 2 enemies are side by side, they can do combo attacks with each other. Again, I'll show you what that means in a little bit. Although I do like the Hunter. He seems very, very powerful once he levels up a little bit. And then the Elementalist, and she's like a spellcaster. So as you play, unlock a few starting options as well. So far I've unlocked a couple stabs. I really like Crackle Rod because it gives an ability. It replaces this card, Flame Fan, with this card called Lightning. They're both the same quality of 1. Which is the number of redraws you can use in the combat. Call Lightning is very cool. You're going to see me use that quite a lot. And then that's the only change I'm going to make. And apparently there's some portrait changes coming soon, and you can rename your character as well. And I've got Rivals turned on here. You can kind of see this is the global book. You can turn on an option that shows just your friends. Where you sit in their rankings. I turned that off for the video just so I wouldn't show off a bunch of people's names who might not want me to show them on videos. Alright, so let's begin. Alright, the settlement, Turalan, which, by the way, you can hover over all of these hyperlink words for some very cool world building that's kind of happening here behind the scenes. One moment while I crack open my monster. Whew. The settlement's dying. Crops will not grow on the blasted land. The settlement has relied on its hunters to bring meat from the beasts that roam the plains and to scavenge where they can. At first, the hunters were able to bring enough food to support the people by scavenging from the ruins of the living world. That's the world we live in. Finally, a solution is found in a living world tome scavenged from the remains of a grand library. The location of a water stone, an elven artifact of great power. I'm just going to hover briefly over these if you guys are interested in pausing and reading. The text describes the stone being used to create a waterfall to decorate the palace of an elven queen. No one needs to be reminded of the dangers of elven magic, the cause of the cataclysm that decimated the land, but after months of watching the people of Turalan succumb to hunger and disease, the settlement leaders decide that it is time to take action. Turalan can only spare enough supplies for a small party of warriors and hunters to go forth and seek the gem. Scholars estimate the journey will take several weeks, so the party is given as much food and supplies as can be spared. The scholars can tell you little of the area beyond the immediate surroundings, but it is unlikely your supplies will last for the entire journey. You will need to scavenge what you can from living world ruins and the native beasts along the way. The party sets off early with the fate of Turalan resting on its success. So that's the beginning of the game, and that's the setup for the water gem story, and now we're in its blasted wasteland. I haven't even started other stories, so I don't know if there's other biomes that you start in, but this biome is mostly just blasted lands, burnt out forests, and horrifying swamps. So this is the party. When I click, time will advance, and I'll move a little bit, and I'll eat a little bit of food. You don't start with much. You start with a little bit of food. 5 out of 10. Actually, I consider 5 out of 10 a smorgasbord of food, because I'm used to having like 2 or less. You start with 3 healing herbs. They can be used to heal 6 hit points, or they can remove a negative trait, which is obviously something that you want to save them for. It's much more valuable than just healing. And then you have obsidian, which is currency, and then you start off fresh. And if you camp in the middle of nowhere, you get very little benefit, just 15% more to your stamina bar here. That's because you're out in the middle of nowhere. If you go into a shelter, like one of these structures here, and once you clear it out, you can camp there, and then you get a bunch more stamina and you heal a little bit, which is more valuable to your time. Speaking of exploration, the purpose of the game is to level up your guys and get powerful. This is a randomized world. You have an arrow telling you where to go for the first leg of the journey, but there's not a really big incentive to get there quickly, because if you get there and you're not able to take the first fight, you'll just lose. So you got to get a little more powerful, find some better equipment, and level up and get some better cards in your deck. So, speaking of that, let's take a look at one of our characters here. This is her deck, because these are the cards that she starts with in her deck, plus Prepare, which you can see the highlight coming over here. You can see where this is coming from. Prepare is coming from her armor, and Call Lightning is coming from her staff, and she has nothing else equipped. The rest of this is just a class. You can see this got like a little divider here, a little gap. These are her class cards. Here's her equipment cards. Here's my warrior. Here's her equipment cards. She only has 2 cards and equipment, or class. So that's kind of how that works. That's how it's laid out. Let's jump into exploring something. Every time you get in, you're gonna, to anything, any question mark, just about anything, even fights, you're gonna get a little story beat. You come across the remains of an old castle atop a large hill. You are able to find a small cache of dried food in the main keep that will certainly help you on the road ahead. So not much happened there, but, you know, a little more food. Actually, we came out ahead. We're 0.5 food ahead of where we started, so we're doing pretty good. After exploring for a short while, Shauna, I think that was her name, spots what appears to be an elementalist tower as part of the main keep. The tower stands precarious as the lower part of the tower has been completely destroyed, and there's no way to get up directly. The party soon finds a way up an adjacent lookout tower that is slightly higher than the elementalist tower. It may be possible to jump from this tower onto the roofs of the wizard's chamber. With no obvious handholds or the other side, it would be a risky attempt. So we can leave this alone or we can attempt it. Now, I don't know if these results happen every time, or if there's a random dice roll happening in the background. I've tried this a couple times. I always get hurt, and then I get some loot, and then I use an herb to recover the injury. So let's see what happens. Malkin goes first and is able to grab hold of the parapets and pull herself safely to the other side. Shauna falls next and is helped to safety. However, when it comes to Jarrah's turn, her nerve falters, and she, during her run-up, and falls short on the other side. Despite their attempts to reach her, she crashes hard on the tower wall and is able to find a foothold. Flailing, Jarrah drops away from the tower wall and falls some 20 feet before hitting the ground hard. So she gets internal bleeding. This is what happens every time. I'm pretty sure there is even an option in the menu to click a little box and it'll tell you the outcome. So I think these are static outcomes, and I think you can learn these outcomes and then make decisions based on, I know what's going to happen. Can I afford this negative condition? Can I afford what's going to happen for the reward? I don't think it gives you specifics on the condition you're going to get or what the rewards are going to be, because they're mostly randomized. But if you are a person who doesn't really like a lot of randomness in their game, you can turn that on and it'll give you more information to make decisions. For me, since I haven't seen a good chunk of these various locations, I'm leaving that option off to be surprised and enjoy what happens. So let's see what happens. Pick myself up. Jonah moans and picks herself up at the base of the tower. Seeing that she is alive, the rest of the party decides to investigate the tower before coming down to aid their injured comrade. You ransack the wizard's chamber, uncovering a number of useful items. Alright, we got a gravity tome, which is a shockwave effect, and a gravity vortex spell. So 2 spells and bone knives, which do a movement of 3 and random range attack of 2. So we're going to take them, and I think we might actually want to equip this on her. She's got 3 tome slots. Now you can see the little icon here. Tome, tome, tome. And when I hover my cursor over it, it highlights what can be equipped. I can equip, however, both those things here because this is also a weapon icon. So I can put a weapon or a tome here. I can put a potion or a tome here. I can put a tome or an arcane item here. I don't have any arcane items or potions. I think I will put this tome here. That's going to give me 2 more cards in the equipment section. So 2 more cards total for the deck. And then I can also do this. I can move 3 random range attack 2. And I think it will. I never really used it. But it seems actually pretty good. Moving 3, getting a free attack while moving, it's pretty solid. Although most of the time moving is free. Again, I'll explain how combat works in a little bit. But in the upper right corner is the cost. And anything that's just a white space is free to use. Alright, so we gotta move on. Now, I do have this injury. Who was it that fell? She did. On draw, take 1 unblockable damage. That's just gonna always happen to her forever, and it's just gonna be a dead card. But what I can do is, were I to camp, I could go to heal injury, and I could drag this over here. And if I click rest, I'll lose an herb, a little bit of food. We'll all gain a hit point, and she'll lose that injury. I'm not going to do it right now, because while it's a pain, we're pretty fresh, we're not really hurt. She can deal with it for 1 or 2 fights. I do want to explore this here. Okay, I'm not going to read all of these out loud. I've just never been that kind of guy who wants to read to a bunch of people. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys read this, and I'm going to take a sip of my beverage while I read it. Okay. So do we want to help the trader confront the bandits, or leave the trader to his fate? Here's the thing. Fighting is how you gain levels and get tougher and get loot. And the longer the campaign progresses, the more dangerous the world becomes. This is very early in the game. This should be a pretty easy fight that we should be able to handle, even on normal difficulty with no problems. So we're going to fight. And we're going to get some loot out of it. Here's the transition into the fighting arena. There are 2 opponents. Well, one of them is 14 health, and he has 7 cards in his deck, 3 in hand. This guy is an archer, and also 3 cards in hand. Everybody gets 3 cards to start the fight with. You'll notice that my characters have an ability. The first card played by this hero each turn costs -1 willpower. They all have that. It's something that all heroes have. So a lot of these cards that have a green number in the corner, 0 or 1, that's how much it costs now. Once I play it, everything else will be normal cost. Now, what is that cost? It's willpower, which I have 0 willpower. The only way to get willpower, other than playing cards that give you willpower, is to right-click on a card to dismiss it. For example, she is my wizard. I don't necessarily need her to be moving any closer to these guys, so I'm not going to move her. I'm going to right-click on this card. It's going to go here and become a willpower point, which can be used to power anyone's powers. Can be you can spend your willpower goes to a pool. Anyone can use that on any other cards. I could ditch all of her cards so someone else can play some of their cards. When you do that, and you have a willpower there, you'll notice this little glowing icon around her, a little spinning animation. That's because when you ditch a card, you actually can, instead of getting willpower, use it to move 2 spaces the character who ditched the card. Now again, I'm not moving her, I want the willpower for other stuff. I will play a defend with her though. Defend just gives her a block, she can ignore the next 2 damage she takes, and some of these guys may have a range attack. This is a bandit archer. He for sure has a range attack and he will for sure shoot her, and there's nothing she can do about it. I don't really want to rush her forward, and the only attack she's got here is a magic attack that is 2 damage to a target within 3 spaces, and then another random enemy within 2 spaces of that target will take another 2 damage, which is great, but they're way too far away for that to work. So, moving on, let's advance my melee guys forward individually, and now we have to decide what we're going to do. We're going to power shot. This is a ranged attack too, just to hurt this guy. We are going to... I could play this power, or I could play this power. Powers have, you can see on the right, the little banner that says power. They are active, so they're really nice to play because they just boost your abilities constantly. However, you'll notice on the left side of the adrenaline card, there's a 4 in green and a 2 with a shield. That is the health and defense, I think, of the power card, and if you take enough damage, you will lose the power card. It'll just be dismissed. So that's how you disenchant, so to speak, someone's power cards, just by beating on them. So if I play these power cards now, this guy will probably come over here and smack me, and I'll lose him anyway. So instead, I think what I might do is, let's ditch this. I can't use it anyway. I could march. That'll give everybody 2 free action movements. That's what activate means. She's activated right now, so I can move her. I could activate everybody and give them all the ability to move 2 points. But I don't know. I don't want to get too close to this guy. Let's make him spend one of his cards getting close to us. In fact, I wonder if it's smarter just to back off a little bit. He's got to get into range. Here, let's do this. Let's back off. Maybe it was dumb to rush forward. Let's put, this is cool. Every time she attacks, she gets defend too. And we're going to just ditch that. We won't be able to use this willpower next turn. We lose all our willpower that we didn't spend. But it'll give her another draw. I'm going to draw more attack cards. I got 2 attack cards. Alright. Range attack 2. Okay. Alright, see, he had to use 2 cards just to get in range of us. So that was excellent. I am going to ditch this melee attack. She has a melee attack in her deck. And we're going to play Call Lightning. It's going to do 2 damage and inflict the shock status to 2 different enemies. There's only 2 on the field. We know who's going to hit. Shock is cool. When an enemy with shock gets hit, it does lightning damage to their allies that are near them, but this won't apply. It won't do any good here. We'll play this and hurt those guys. Now, what we're going to see next is I am going to move her into position next to this target, and then they're going to be able to combo attack off each other. What that means is when this lady here plays an attack, she gets a combo hit of 1 point of damage, 1 bonus damage. Same with she attacks. This person gets a combo attack of 1 point of damage. You can really layer. Let's just see how it works. I'm going to attack here, boom, and then combo, boom. All right, that happened because I have 2 people. If I would have had another person or even a 4th person here, they all would have gotten a free combo hit. When you swarm somebody or get swarmed, combo attacks. They're very, very powerful. Alright, Alright, let's do this, and this, and actually this, because I want to be able to do this big hit. It did 6 damage, and it did enough damage to actually kill the enemy. So, that's that. Alright, here's that internal bleeding. Alright. Magic damage. This is going to be kind of fun. Magic damage 1 in an area, and push all characters from the target point. This is the target point. But I could technically do this here, and you'll see the game is telling me where the position the figure is going to end up when I shockwave and it pushes and slides a space. However, doing this won't hurt the target. I think I'd rather just do a point to him. Because my melee guy can actually just walk forward, and we've got 2. Oop. Let's undo that. You can click here to undo. We'll move 2. Move again. Swipe. Couldn't quite get close enough. I can do this though. Nope, too far away. Shoot. I probably could have played that better to kill this guy, but that's right. Move it to attack and then activate. Yep. That's alright. Oh, you know what? We can mark. Just get everybody can get a free activation. And then swipe. Combo. There you go. Not bad, not bad. We took a little more damage. Well, we didn't take much damage. Your equipment has an armor rating, and that's bonus hit points you start the combat with. So if you take armor damage first before you start taking, it's not the same as block. It's just more hit points. All right, let's see what we got. We got Burned Fetish, a magic object, which is cool because we can actually equip that in that slot I was talking about, and I can summon this husk with 6 health, and he can do 2 attack damage. So it's kind of nice to have an extra guy in the field. I also got more food, and everybody can level up. Not everybody, sorry. Every time you finish a fight, there's no experience points in the game. Every time you complete a fight, you can level someone up to the next level. Now, you can't like power level one character. Once you level up, like if I level up her, then I can only level up her or her next, and then finally the one I didn't do. So she's going to go to level 2, and until everybody's on level 2, no one gets to go to level 3. Now, when you level up, you get +1 health, and this is your class skill list. This is the cards in your class deck. Everyone has 2 advances, free, move 3. Everyone has 2 swipes, takes 1, does 2 damage. Everyone has a defend and a couple other class-specific cards. I could take one of these cards here and drag it and replace it, making her base deck just a little bit better. We have Insult, which would inflict Defenseless 2 and grant Inspired 2 to target character, meaning that they would not be able to gain defense, but they would gain +1 to all melee, range, and magic damage. That could be useful. We could get Opening Strike, melee attack 2, and then all other friendly characters draw a card. That's very cool, very, very powerful. It takes 1. Let's compare this to Swipe. Swipe takes 1, does 2 damage. Opening Strike takes 1, does 2 damage, and then everyone gets to draw a card. I mean, the other 2 characters get to draw a card, which of course means it could be a card they could ditch to put more willpower in the pool. They could ditch to move a couple spaces. They could play it. It's very, very cool. It's a great card. And there's no reason not to replace a Swipe with it, if nothing else. Inspiring Strike, however, is also really tempting because it also just takes 1. It does 3 damage, and it inspires every other character, so they're getting +1 to their melee, range, and magic damage dealt. These are both really good. They're just because they're strictly better than the Swipe. Then there's Team Spirit, which is a power. All friendly characters within 3 spaces get +1 to all movement, just while this power is active. I don't know if I should take... Let's get card draw. Alright. After the last bandit's defeated, the Rattling Trader thanks Malkin for their help. He offers a substantial reward, but only if the party can escort him back to a nearby town. Let's do it. So we have an orange counter here telling me where to go. We're going to head that direction because we have plenty of food. And this main quest can wait for a little bit longer. That's really creepy looking. We're gonna walk around that. See, we're tired now, but there's no good place to camp around here. You approach a large monolithic rock. I say large. Large rock. Alright, let's see here. Something caught our eye. Looks metallic with some sort of handle. The cliff has been worn away over time, with some sections faring better than others, which makes it look climbable. Man, this cat is very needy right now. What, buddy? Yeah, it's okay. We should attempt to scale it. Yeah. All right, Malkin leaves her belongings, armor, and weapons in the bottom, and starts to scale the rock. Plenty of handholds, and she reaches the relic. 100 gold, nice. Silver cup inlaid with precious gems around the rim. It looks like a valuable find, possibly of dwarven origin. All right, so that's 100 more gold to spend. Should we find something? Okay. There we go. Passing through a series of dried mesas, a small but well-spoken chard, is like a creature type, approaches you. She claims to have been robbed and humiliated by a nearby tribe, and they are camped nearby. Offers you 40 gold to kill the chard and get her belongings. I'll accept it. I'll fight them anyway. Oh shoot, we're gonna fight right now? But we're tired. Well, we're gonna get to see how this works then. Because we're tired, we've got a couple unpleasant fatigue cards shuffled into our deck that we're going to have to deal with. The charger out of sight, down an upcoming ravine, so the element of surprise is on your side. However, without warning, your charred escort runs the edge and begins screaming curses and threats onto the gathered chard. The party quickly makes up the distance and prepares for battle. Good work, lady. Alright, they all start grouped together, and I probably won't start with a fireball spell. I did get a husk spell, though. Alright, we're not going to use that, because I want to ditch this, play and defend, summon my husk. These guys are all ranged, so we want to close the distance on them quickly. I'll probably lose that power pretty quick, so let's just shoot one of them. Just to get some damage on them. And there's that fatigue. There's that internal bleeding. So they're ditching cards to power their cards and playing power same as we are. Alright, let's activate my husk and move him 2 spaces. We will... Ooh, let's do this. That push some guys closer to where we want them to be. We can do some real damage to this guy because none of my characters are adjacent to another enemy, so they build a combo strike. And you can see the combo strike will happen because of the friendly glow over my other character. Alright, so we are going to ditch this. At least we can ditch that. Let's draw a card. And we're going to move here. We're going to move him up just to get a combo attack. And we're going to... I don't care about that. I'm going to ditch my force missile to get a second point of willpower to play this power, because it gives you plus willpower at the start of your turn, which is a really powerful ability. Okay. And there's the 3 cards for her. All ranged attacks do +1 damage, but he couldn't get away. Oh no. Sleep Dart, and it shovels a fatigue card in your deck. Range attack 2. Alright, we are taking some damage here and I don't like it. But that should be the end of this fight, I think. Let's have someone just draw a card. Let's ditch that. Let's do a card draw. Leadership. Yeah. This one gonna get an attack, but that's fine. We're gonna move here. Only because I want to kill him, so that he's the only one left. Now we will all... Nope, don't ditch that card. Ditch this card. Play, defend, advance. you'll notice that there isn't a little eye icon when I have her selected. There's nowhere I can put her that she can see him, which is unfortunate, because I would like to have line of sight for some of my spells. This one doesn't need it. It just goes in an area. This is a little drawing in the bottom of the card, tells you the area of effect. This is just 3 squares straight, 3 hexes straight. Okay. Ugh. Now we're gonna camp pretty soon, so. Call lightning. Use that to move here. We're gonna move him here. And then we're going to move him. Nope. Move her here. These 3 guys are all gonna get a combo strike. That. Alright. She lost more health than she should have, but I was kind of playing it fast. Okay, so we got some coins. Charge. Let's level up my mage. What do we want? Wind Strike is great because it's just like Advance, move 3, except for you can move anywhere and ignore characters and obstacles. So you could, like, it's really nice to get her to fly away from something. Storm Conduit, whenever you make a melee attack, deal 2 magic damage and inflict shock to a random enemy within 4 spaces. That's pretty cool, but it takes 2. It's pretty expensive. I don't really want her fighting. I want to build her to be more of a long-range character. So I won't use Draining Strike either. I will just take 1 block. Boring, but effective. Let's finish this escort mission here. Rattling you've been escorting excitedly runs off as soon as the town comes into sight. Let's see. Reminding the previous promise, town looks like an old human city that is still in need of much repair. Let's see. The Rattling takes the party to an affluent area near the center of the settlement and soon finds his old business, a large trading post, in the building that used to be a warehouse. He hands over a bag of obsidian. Nice. And the Rattling grins widely, still grateful for the group's efforts. We can buy stuff. Now we have 340 gold. I'm going to sell this bone axe. I am going to buy up every piece of food I can get. And I'm going to probably... These are... You can... When you're camping, if you don't want to do things like, you know, remove someone's native condition with herbs, there's a couple other options you've got, like crafting. And you can craft any items you found in previous runs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go to the crafting page. Or sorry, things you've seen this run, I guess. So I don't have anything I can craft. Yeah. I do want to heal this bleeding. And we do want to rest. So the injury's been cured. We all got +1 hit points. And we will break camp. And we will continue onward. So I think that's all I wanted to show. It's been a half an hour. I just wanted to kind of give you a quick look at the game. Play will continue just like this, exploring, finding all kinds of random encounters on the map, dealing with various choices that are hopefully good or at least not terrible, and from there getting more levels and equipment, and then fighting ultimately the first fight, and then the second fight is the boss that I can't beat. So that's as far as I've gotten. So, thanks for watching with me, and if you want to see more footage from this game or anything else, let me know. And in the meantime, I'll see you next time.